So let's talk about open in Madison, because that's a very unique approach to drafting legislation. So with the Open Act, I think it was the first one you did this with, you put it up on the web.
Right.
And you invited the public to come online and suggest changes and amendments to the bill, some of which made it into the proposed version, right?
Yep.
What are some of them that made them in, offhand, if you remember any?
I don't, I'll be honest, there were 40 that had merit in one way or the other that we found ways to fit in, but it's still online, and it's still a working document. There could be months or even years before that bill would become law, and that's one of the points we have. Now, Madison is a platform that is not universal yet. Our goal is to make it universal at the federal level, both for the legislature and then eventually dealing with rulemaking authority. Right now, when you look at the FCC or any of these other rulemaking organizations, they put out, quote, their finished product, let you comment on it, then they put out their finished product again. And it's pretty obviously not a transparent system, because they've already decided what they want to do, and they put it out for, quote, public comment. We want to get to where the earliest draft ideas are out on the web. The input is there before the initial rule, and then a process where you can see what was changed, when it was changed, and whether or not there was public input. Our big reason is we want to have more public comment, and we want that public comment to be seen by every American to know whether, quote, it was a real suggestion or something a bureaucrat just threw in because, quote, they wanted to look like they improved their law.
Well, a lot of people are very cynical about who has input into the legislative process. And part of their cynicism, I think, says, I'm not sure my representative or my senator actually wants to hear what I think. What has been the reception among your fellow congresspeople, and for that matter, the reception in the Senate to this idea, pretty radical, of opening up legislation to the public to comment and change as part of the drafting process?
Well, Tony, you have to understand, some of legislatures, or some of my companions in the House and the Senate are still wondering why we have cameras on the House floor. You know, last December, we went live for the entire Congress, just before the end of the year. Every hearing in Congress now is streamed and recorded. Our committee did it starting in February of the year I took over as chairman, because we thought it was important. By March or April, we had 5 years worth of historic tape in being an old term, but digital, online. Many of my friends fought that till the very last days, and then at the last day, they didn't want to be the one committee that wasn't online, so everybody got to be online. To a certain extent, this is one of those things where we're not going to see people run up and take their toughest bill and throw it out there for public ridicule, if you will, until it becomes the norm. And then it's, look, this is just part of the process. And it should be part of the process. If you empower people, you get more buy-in. If you don't empower people, then why can't they be cynical and say, nobody asked me, I didn't have any input? I want to be able to say to everyone, every American had input. I didn't see you on the bill when it was being put before you, and unless you were just out of the country for 6 months, you had a chance. I shouldn't say out of the country, because you'd have a chance anywhere.